Petey Beats here from Pop Turners, speaking to Sanaa Hamri about Wheel of Time Season 2 on Prime Video. Welcome to the show. Thanks so much for being here.
Thank you. Love your show.
I really appreciate that. It means a lot. I mean, we're talking Season 2 of the Wheel of Time on Prime Video. First thing that kind of comes to mind, and I'm really excited to chat with you about this from a directorial standpoint, is we're basically going back in time for this show. You know what I mean? Everything looks a certain way, certain kind of characters are saying certain things. There's all this. So what's kind of going through your mind aesthetically or like storytelling wise from a directorial standpoint with this going back in time?
So season 2 is a lot darker. There's a lot more danger because right now all of the characters are split up and they're on their way and experiencing their journeys separately from themselves. So they're encountering bigger and newer worlds. So for me, from a filmmaker's perspective, it's about really bringing that darkness, that edginess, a visceralness to the imagery, framing being really, really sharp. But at the same time, we want to feel like it's real. And it's, in a fantasy genre, you have to really create the environment. And a lot of it to me is about creating organic light and making it feel like you can almost touch and smell it. When you see Lady Surath arrive, you feel like it's really happening, but it still has all the cool shots. And, it's finding that way of combining immense visuals that are epic with intimate camera work for when you're directing the high drama.
And to kind of add to that, one of my favorite things about shows, specifically like The Wheel of Time, is the immersive component. When I'm watching it as a viewer, I feel like I'm kind of diving into the world, and I love that escapism component of it. How much are you thinking about the escapism kind of immersive aspect of it when you're filming the show? Or is this something afterwards you think about later, like when it's done, or do you think about the immersive component of it? Because that's a big part of viewing these days.
So when directing a show like that, as a filmmaker, we are always thinking about the immersive element of what we're doing. I prep everything to a T. So all the shots you see, the movement, the camera angles, those were pre-thought out, designed, storyboarded. And when we come to it, when we're on set, additional things come to that. Of course, one has to always be aware of the audience. We're not just randomly shooting and then, like, for example, I just don't randomly shoot and then figure it out in post. I used to be an editor. So when I'm filming already to the edit. And I have these sequences with camera work and camera movement that I feel is perfect for that scene. And I always think about who's the superhero in this shot at this point. Yeah. Who is the main person? And then when you're dealing with the intimate moments, you kind of use the camera work differently as to not distract, because that's the thing, is about not distracting as well. You don't want to take the audience out of anything, right?
100%. Now, there is a Wheel of Time question here, okay? But Super Bass is getting really close to 1 billion views on YouTube, the music video, which is insane. I mean, congrats to you and everyone involved. Because you've worked on so many kind of different projects, you know what I mean? Film, TV, music videos. I feel like naturally it's going to happen a little bit, but how much do you take certain experiences from certain projects to other projects? Like, were there some things that you worked on with, music videos for Super Bass or others that you kind of brought to, the Wheel of Time, like creative wise, or are they all kind of separate kind of projects? Like, I'm just curious about that a little bit.
For example, Nicki Minaj's Super Bass, which was a very, and still is a very popular video. If you really look at it, it's the precursor to Barbie. And it has
1 billion views on YouTube almost.
Yeah, and it has all the pink and the ice and all that stuff and kind of that high style. And a lot of my music video work had high style because, in essence, when you're a music video director, you're supposed to take the artist and make them into this character or superhero, and you're very involved with the look and the feel of the show. I naturally come with that as a filmmaker. So I did some movies. I was on, did Empire, which I executive produced and directed, which had a lot of style. And I think that one brings everything with it. For me, it's natural. And I think looking at the body of my work that you feel, oh, it's natural for her to do high fantasy shows. Well, it wasn't, not everybody saw that, but I was lucky enough to get somebody like Rafe Judkins who knew that that was a perfect fit for me, as well as Amazon Studios, which I feel like took a real leap of faith with me in going, you know what, she may not have done this type of work, but she has a ton of high visuals, highly stylized things. She does drama, she does comedy, she's a storyteller, she should be able to do that. And I think, like, especially as a woman and woman of color, not many of us always got that chance. Usually a lot of the men were the ones who got, did the music video and then did big movie, but we, it's one of those things. So I feel very much at home in this genre.
It's all storytelling at the end of the day. I feel like the mindset's going to change a little bit depending on maybe the length of the project, the genre of the project. But at the end of the day, it's I'm sure you're just looking at it all from a storytelling perspective.
Absolutely. I mean, here's the thing. It could look great, but if you're not telling the story and you're not focused on the characters, it really doesn't matter. Then it becomes just fluff. So the key thing is, as a filmmaker and director, is that you really have to work with the actors and you have to create the environment where they feel comfortable and it comes to life. And then I'm just there not to be in their way. Once I get it in a position, I'm there to capture it naturally, to capture it organically without messing with it too much. Again, too many cooks in the kitchen is not great. So I always try to get to the purest form of the art. Mm-hmm. Less is more. And I say that as you see the visuals in Wheel of Time, which is filled with more, but my approach was less is more.
That show is just eye candy all around. Like, can we give a shout out to everyone? Can we give a shout out to the VFX, the crew? Like, come on, like, we have to.
We have to give the shout outs not only to the VFX, but the shout outs to production design, the shout outs to costume, hair, makeup, cinematography, the camera work. Like, such a great team. It's like down to, I mean, I will say this, we are as good as the script. Yeah. It's as simple as that. And then a shout out to the actors who had to go through rigorous training. Not only are they doing most of their stunts, but also they're rehearsing. So we're rehearsing for the scenes. They're doing their stunt work, their rehearsals. Then we all have to culminate on set. There's fitting. So it's like, it really takes a village. I mean, filmmaking is about, it really takes a village. As a director and executive producer, I am the guide, and I'm also there to create an environment where people can have input and feel comfortable showing me things that I may not have thought of. And because ultimately I'm like, the more the merrier. Mm-hmm. And the more ideas, like, what works.
I recently wrapped a short that I wrote and produced, and it's a team sport. You know what I mean? It's just that's how it is. Absolutely. Last question quickly before we wrap up. Whether you've been on a set or worked on a project, Sanaa, for like once or like thousands of times, there's always going to be learning experiences no matter what, because of the genre or the people you work with and everything. For the Wheel of Time specifically, what were some learning experiences that come to mind working on this show specifically?
Well, the learning experience for me was I knew nobody. For the first time, I literally packed up my bags in Los Angeles and flew to Prague, never been to the Czech Republic. So it was a culture shock to me. We had obviously a mix between international crew and Czech crew. So it was like a learning curve, the culture. Like, I go in and I have to understand, this is the culture of the show. These are the people, kind of learn very quickly how to kind of fit in, but also I'm there as a leader. So it really is, I have to listen. And, you just learn about listening. You learn about really taking it in and understanding the people that you're around. Like you said, it's such a group sport that you just have to be open to things being different.
Episodes of season 2 of The Wheel of Time rolling out on Prime Video. So great chatting with you. Thank you so much for coming on the show.
Thank you.
Awesome.
Thank you for tuning in to Popternative. Make sure to check out our past episodes of Popternative on YouTube.
This has been an Autograph Communications production.